adjust your sight lines. Anyway, up here I'm Randy Weary, and I want to say a few words about my dear friend Marshall. As the rest of us, we met through scouting early on in the troop, and my son was one of those that Marshall had taken aside even before I became involved. Will tell you that Marshall, as you all know, was a man of few words. No. but his words were always well chosen. We as new parents to a group, we went to the campsite to pick up our son on a cold Sunday morning after they'd gone to Boggy Creek to have a camporee. Well, it got down in the 20s that I think it was in a February morning, and got there, and I saw Marshall and had recognized him from a few times at the troop meeting, and I said, "Where's my son Ted?" And he says, "Oh, you mean burning britches." And I'm befuddled until I see my son with a giant hole in his pants. Like every scout, he got too close to the fire and caught his pants on. No, they don't all do that, but mine did. But Marshall was quick to tell me that burning britches did tend to do the right thing. He stopped, dropped, and rolled, even though the fire was already out by that time. There's no injuries or anything else, but he dubbed him with the name of Burning Britches. And to be quite honest, that stuck with him for a long time. As a matter of fact, the chair you saw, he carved my son's chair after he was there, and it was adorned with burning britches. Anyway, and it was hand carved by Marshall. It wasn't just the boys, there were some of us that, as Jim said, he was adorned with his moniker also, as far as the Hobbit Down Under, and I was kind of a young assistant scoutmaster, and I volunteered to do planning for things. Now, one thing that Marshall always showed all of us was his historical intelligence. He was, as far as the Civil War, probably the most learned man I'd ever met. He never missed a chance to tell you about this battle or that battle. And of course, one that came up in our troop was we were going to take a trip to Vicksburg and see the siege of Vicksburg. And I, of course, at last minute couldn't go, but at the same time, I was there, and I said, I'll volunteer to do the planning for it. I arranged for a place for them to stay. I arranged for them to go to the battleground and work with them and get a patch that they could earn if they did a little bit of cleanup work. So anyway, this was fine. I was home, and it was at the dawn of cell phones, and basically at midnight I get a call from Jim Matson and Marshall, and they're at the door of the gymnasium where I'd arranged for them to stay, saying, "Which door do we go in? We can't get the door open. What are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, go around the other side and try that." Well, they did, and I get another phone call, and they say, "We can't get in that one either." Well, at that time, "Wait, we'll call you back. The police are here." With a call somewhat later, they got straightened out with the police after much to do, saying that they were supposed to be there with the scout troop. They're supposed to be able to stay in this gymnasium. Well, they got it worked out, and they did get into the gymnasium, which, of course, instead of having all the amenities, had no hot water, had limited cooking facilities that they could use, but they made the best of it and made through it. And of course, then the trip to the National Monument was there, and they went there in the morning, and I'd given them the name that they needed to contact to get this little bit of pickup project done so they could all earn the badge, that they could bring home with them, and they were also proud of that. Well, anyway, when they got there, as they found that the man introduced himself and says, "There's some tools right out back, and you just go ahead and get those and meet me in the spot." Well, they went to get the tools, and not only were there bags for pickup, there were some tools like rakes, shovels, scythes, chainsaws, and more. Our troop got involved in building a trail and cutting down trees, and it turned out to be an all-day trail building project instead. Well, when they got home, I was, much relieved to see them all home, and I'm there to pick my son up, and Marshall comes up to me and he says, "How are you doing?" And I said, "Just fine." He says, "I've got a new name for you." And he says, "You are now Dog Meat." The others here can tell you that moniker stuck with me for the rest of my career. As a matter of fact, a few weeks ago when I sat with Marshall and I shared our last beer together, I believe he quickly said, "How are you doing, Dog Meat?" And I always was, and I was always very proud of that. Marshall not only, took care of us in that manner, but he also was always so proud of his family, his children, his grandchildren. It was amazing what he would regale us with them. His submariners, as he referred to you all, were his pride and joy. He came back from trips and made sure that we knew exactly what had gone on and how much fun they had had gathering together. It was a treat to do that. I am one. I'm going to miss you, Marshall. I'm going to miss your physical presence, but there's a part of you that you left with all of us that's going to always be with us, and I'll never forget you, and I'll always appreciate everything you gave to me, my son, all of you. He was just a most wonderful man. Thank you.